Nobody warns you about the silence. They warn you about the heartbreak, the crying, the missing, the empty half of the bed. Nobody warns you about the strange, level quiet that arrives the day you finally stop reaching for someone who never reached back. That silence, your silence, often does what all your love never could. Because people don't fight to keep what they're certain they already own. Something only wakes up the moment it starts to slip away. For months, you were the one fixed thing in their world. Always there, always warm, one message away. And the tighter you held on, the further they drifted, until you started to believe you just weren't trying hard enough. You were trying. Your effort was never the problem. It had quietly become proof that they could keep you without ever earning you. Then one day, you stopped. Not as a trick, not to win, because something inside you was simply done. And that, so often, is the exact moment something shifts in them they can't explain. There's an old idea in relationship psychology, the principle of least interest. Whoever needs the connection less holds the most power over it. It sounds cold. It's really just gravity. As long as you were the one chasing, you handed them a role without a single word being spoken. You were the option. They were the prize. Nobody agreed to it out loud. It just settled in, the way water finds the lowest floor in a house. But there's a sharper mechanism underneath that. When your warmth was constant and theirs came and went, you weren't living in a stable relationship. You were living inside a variable reward schedule, and the most addictive pattern on earth isn't built from steady rewards, it's built from unpredictable ones. A machine that pays every time gets boring. A machine that pays sometimes, at random, is the one nobody can walk away from. You gave, and every so often, just often enough, they gave a little back. And that little, landing without warning, lit up your brain harder than steady affection ever could. That doesn't make you weak. It means you were caught in one of the most powerful loops in human behavior. You called it love. Some days, it ran like a slot machine. And when you walked away, you weren't running a strategy. You just stopped feeding the machine. That loop holds two different ways of handling fear, locked in the same rhythm. One person reaches when they feel distance, closeness calms them. The other pulls away under pressure, space calms them. This is the anxious avoidant trap. The more one moves in, the more the other backs off. Each person's way of soothing themselves lands on the other's deepest wound. And neither is the villain. The one who pulls away isn't crueler. They're frightened in a different direction. To them, closeness can feel like disappearing. These aren't fixed identities. You can be anxious here and distant in your next. The pattern matters more than the label. But an avoidant only feels safe while there's something to pull away from. Take away the pursuit, and the space they wanted curdles into a vacuum. While you chased, they lived in a comfort they never had to earn. You were the background hum of their life, always on, never gone. And the mind habituates. Anything constant fades into the background, the way you stop hearing a fan after it's switched on. That's how they stopped feeling your care. Not because it disappeared, but because it never did. Reliability they don't value registers as furniture. You felt anxious, they felt secure. Neither was at peace, but it was familiar. And familiarity has a pull all its own. Until the day the background goes quiet. Day 1 of your silence registers as nothing. Day 2, almost relief. By day 3, a small question forms and gets waved away. Then, the 4th morning. They reach for the phone out of habit, expecting the good morning that's always been there. Nothing. Just a flat, unfamiliar quiet they can't explain. There's a name for this, the Zeigarnik effect, the mind's refusal to let go of anything unfinished. A story that ends, fades. One left open keeps tugging at red lights at 2 a.m. Your absence is an open loop, and the mind won't leave it alone. Comfort just turned into a question, and a question is hard to switch off. Now, their imagination does the work you used to. They wonder what changed, whether you've moved on. Loss aversion. Losing hurts more than gaining ever felt good. Your care was barely noticed. Gone. It becomes a loud loss. Scarcity. We want what's harder to get. You were always within reach, so your value sat low. Now, you're not. And suddenly, they price you differently. So they replay the good moments. Absence sharpens the ordinary into something we ache for. But none of this is guaranteed. Some reach out, some never look back. A tendency, not a law. When they reach out, it's never straight. A vague message, a like on an old photo. These aren't bridges, they're tests. Probes to check if the old machine still runs, if the warmth is still on standby. Reaching for just enough closeness to feel safe, bracing to pull away the second it arrives. And this is the crossroads. The old you would have sprinted back. But you're not the old you anymore. The moment they feel your absence is the moment you stop feeling theirs. While they turn questions over at midnight, you're rediscovering a quiet you forgot you owned. You sleep without reaching for your phone. The knot in your chest finally lets go. A lot of what you called love was a nervous system on high alert, mistaking adrenaline for closeness. The body confuses intensity with intimacy, and peace feels like something's wrong. Going back stops looking like a reunion and starts looking like climbing back into the hole you climbed out of. This was never about revenge. Sometimes people come back genuinely changed. Real change is possible. But be honest, not everyone comes back for you. Some come back for the comfort, the role you played. They don't miss the person, they miss the ease. The truly changed show up with effort first. Those who miss the comfort show up with words and wait for you to do the work again. So let someone back in only if they've grown, and don't trade your peace for their comfort twice. If you're sitting in that silence, wondering if letting go was a mistake, hear this. You didn't lose your power when you walked away. Quietly, you started to find it. You weren't too much. You were just giving a great deal to someone offering very little. The day you stopped pouring into something empty wasn't the day you gave up. It was the day you chose yourself. They may come back, they may not. Either way, it doesn't decide your worth. The real shift was never about them returning. It was about you. At last, returning to yourself. If this reminded you of something you needed to hear, subscribe and choose yourself again tomorrow.